out there trying to fight Horcruxes while fighting off the Death Eaters. The school's being invaded, and the kids there are dealing with all of that. And welcome back once again to a new book review. Now, the book we are going to be talking about today is the final book in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And as stated, this will be the final book in the series, so if you do not want this book, and thus the ones that came before it, spoiled for you, I suggest you skip to this review and come back to it once you've read it, if you plan on reading it. But with that being said, let's get into the characters of this book. So, our main character is, of course, Harry Potter himself, the boy who lived. And he is a Gryffindor student who, with his two other friends, Ron and Hermione, work together to try and stop what is happening in this book. I like this trio. I think they work really well together. Ron serves as like the comedic relief, Hermione's the brains, and Harry is the like brawn of the group. And I think they work really well off of each other. And then we have our big bad Voldemort, who is literally described to look like a man who is partially a snake and acts like a snake. I like this whole cast. I think they work well, and with that being said, let's get into my thoughts on this book. As these books progress, they get progressively more and more dark and more lax in their language and stuff because they grew up with the people reading them. Now, I'm more partial to the movies, to be honest, and I don't really like J.K. Rowling's like prose. I think that oftentimes she describes too many details where it's like, okay, we didn't need to know every little nook and cranny of everything. Just give us the basics to where we can picture it and then move on. I feel like a lot of British authors describe way too many details of a scene to where it just drags on and on and on. But with that being said, this is the end all be all. This is the end of the series. This is where everything that has been set up throughout these books pays off. And we see that J.K. Rowling had planned this Horcrux thing from the very beginning in the Chamber of Secrets, where Harry had unknowingly destroyed the first Horcrux of Voldemort, the diary. Now, if you don't know what a Horcrux is, it's a very dark type of magic where if one were to kill someone, it would split their soul. Well, apparently, Voldemort decided to split his soul into 7 different pieces. He hid those 7 pieces of his soul in various objects that had significance and then hid them the world of throughout the wizarding world. And we see that this whole time Dumbledore was trying to stop Voldemort. He was trying to locate the Horcruxes and destroy them in order for Voldemort to be stopped. And it is found out as Harry then takes up this quest after Voldemort is killed in the previous book, with Ron and Hermione there to help him. He sets out to finish the job of destroying all of the 7 Horcruxes that Voldemort had created, with Dumbledore leaving behind the snitch, the Gryffindor sword, a deluminator, and a book, each of which are given to Ron, Hermione, and Harry to carry out their quests. And as they're going through this quest, trying to find, locate, and destroy all the Horcruxes, Harry also learns of 3 items that then make up the Deathly Hallows. The invisibility cloak, which conveniently he already has, the Elder Wand, which Dumbledore is said to possess, and the resurrection stone, and no one knows where that is. But all of these come together to make one Master of Death. So not only is he trying to find the 7 Horcruxes that remain and finish off the ones he hasn't already destroyed, but he's also trying to locate the Deathly Hallows, one of which he already owns without realizing he owned it. But through his quest, Harry starts to get a little upset with Dumbledore because he's finding out that he has to do all of this stuff, and not only finding out that he has to destroy these Horcruxes because they are a part of Voldemort's soul, and thus will weaken him to destroy those, he finds out that he himself was an accidentally created Horcrux that Voldemort had made. So he finds out that Dumbledore has basically been raising him like a lamb for slaughter to die at the right moment. He had this whole big quest for me to embark on. Why would he not tell me the truth? Why would he keep things from me? All the while, because the most feared of Voldemort's enemies, aside from Harry, Dumbledore is dead, you see Death Eaters taking over the school. Students literally have to run to the room of requirement to take refuge there to be able to stand up against Voldemort and the Death Eaters there. They take over Hogwarts and they set curfews on the wizarding world, and anyone who is found out by curfew gets taken to Azkaban. Anyone who tries to fight against Voldemort and his army are carted off to Azkaban or killed. Kids are taken hostage to get parents to do what Voldemort wants. It's a whole mess in the wizarding world, and all the while, the kids of Hogwarts think that Harry, Ron, and Hermione had abandoned them because they disappeared trying to fight these Horcruxes to stop them. So, and they couldn't tell anyone about it because Dumbledore said, do not tell anyone outside of you 3, because the more people that know, the easier it might be to get back to he who shall not be named. So they're out there trying to fight Horcruxes while fighting off the Death Eaters. The school's being invaded, and the kids there are dealing with all of that. It gets dark, and Voldemort is willing to kill anyone that gets in his way. The only one he does not let his Death Eaters kill is Harry himself, because Voldemort feels that he needs to kill Harry. And I think that's because he knew that Harry was a part of him because he made him a Horcrux and didn't want anyone else to know that. But this book series is so much fun. Although if you don't like J.K. Rowling's prose, like I don't like reading her prose, I recommend listening to the audiobook for it. It's a lot of fun listening to the audiobook. I don't know what it is specifically about J.K. Rowling's prose that I didn't enjoy reading, but I enjoyed listening to the story. I just found it hard to slip into reading the Harry Potter books when I sat down to read them, unlike I do in other books. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. That's a me thing. But these books overall are so much fun. The world is vast, and there is a reason that the books and the movies are still so beloved to this day, rivaling Star Wars and Pokemon in how popular it still is even now. Regardless of if you like J.K. Rowling or not, I separate art from artist. I could give a shit less about the celebrities, about the authors. Like, I could care less. I just like what they make. I don't have to like them. I don't really care about celebrities' lives outside of their products. Not trying to be mean or conceited, but I really don't. So, regardless of if you love her or hate her, there is a reason why this story is still beloved to this day. I feel like it's set up nicely, the characters are fun, the world is so vast you could literally do anything. And the final book ramps up the stakes to 11, and it is so much fun. And seeing how they balance Hogwarts being taken over, the search for Harry and trying to kill him, the search for the Horcruxes that Harry, Ron, and Hermione are doing, it's fun. And there was a point where Ron kind of disappears, and I think I heard some years ago that for whatever reason, J.K. Rowling almost wrote Ron out of the story before deciding no, Ron needs to be here, and bringing him back with the excuse that he was running for his life from dark wizards because they nearly caught him, so he had to lay low and couldn't come back to the group. But I'm glad she brought Ron back because he's always been there from book one, so to have him disappear when he was arguably needed the most would have been a big blow to the book and kind of a disappointment, so I'm glad she decided to bring him back. But with that being said, I really enjoy these books, and the movies will always have a special place in my heart. And it's about time I finished this damn series because I started reading it 4 years ago. Well, listening to the audiobook 4 years ago, but I'm finally done. That's almost a book a year. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!